Welcome to the Andy Noise Experience, podcast Endurance Noise, Random Musings. It's Wednesday, September 8th, 2020. And today I want to talk about swimming. One of the few good things about being an apartment kid my whole life was most apartments have swimming pools, because I certainly, if we'd had a house, probably wouldn't have had a pool. And as a homeowner now, swimming pools are a pain in the rut. We just spent $500 getting the sand changed in our filter today, plus something else. A month or two ago, we ended up having to get a new pool vacuum, and then we pay, a fee every month to try and keep it clean. But here in Bakersfield, our pool has been pretty green. Hopefully the sand thing will work. But, keeping a pool clean in 100-degree weather with perfect conditions, and we got a river nearby blowing crap in it, it's definitely not working. But, so, since I lived in apartments all the way up until my senior year in high school, because I moved around a lot, I spent a lot of time in swimming pools, and I spent all days, summers, always in the pool. Back in the day, kids, we were latchkey kids, and we were pretty much free to roam. So I swam in pools. I lived back east. I swam in rivers. I swam in lakes. And I've always been a good swimmer. When we went to UC San Diego, one of the benefits of UC San Diego is it's on the bluffs, and below the bluffs is Black's Beach. It's got some of the great surf breaks. I used to go out there boogie boarding and surf, not surfing, just body surfing. You had to climb down this big old cliff, so couldn't get down there that easily. And then, of course, when I started doing triathlons in high school, I always had that natural swimming ability, although I never did compete in any swimming formally, but I always was good at swimming, especially the longer distance swimming. It's kind of funny, I can swim for a mile or two, but ask me to carry things across a room and my arms almost fall off. So I've always been swimming, but I kind of have a love-hate relationship with swimming, because whenever I want to train, it usually means finding a pool. It usually means they have only certain hours. It's either crowded, or it's cold, or it costs too much money. And so over the years, I've joined clubs and not joined clubs. In fact, the only time I ever join a gym is usually I have a pool. I have a 24-hour fitness. I don't think it's open anymore because of COVID. I think it closed forever. But it's got a beat-up, crappy pool. And I was paying my $25 or so a month just so I could go there. But it's a mile away. But, you take your life in your own hands trying to walk there. Traffic sucked. But I was in that pool for quite a while swimming, and I was like, man, I'm swimming pretty fast. And then one time I talked to an old timer at the pool, and basically 24-hour fitness, I'm like a young guy, and the 24-hour fitness is like 70. And he said, well, hey, Andy, he goes, the pool, it's 23 yards long. It wasn't even a 25-yard pool. But one of the things I also got to do, and you saw my swim tether article, is running in the pool. And I'll tell you, running in the pool, they use racehorses running pools, and it really helps. And I started doing a lot of run workouts in pools. And an indoor pool, it's nice and super humid, gets me ready for those humid Tennessee races. And so I started swimming, and, back when I was in high school and college, I swam in the ocean a lot when I was in high school and college, especially college, because I went to UC San Diego, and then I lived in LA for a few years. So I boogie board, body surf. So I'm pretty good at open water swimming, and I would, did some formal swim training, swam at UC San Diego. They had age group master swimming, and that was amazing, because Scott Tinley and Scott Molina and Mark Allen, all those guys that lived in UC San Diego area, and so they swam with us. And then I swam in Santa Monica on a formal swim team kind of too, when I was, in my 20s teaching in high school. But I moved back to Bakersfield, and Cal State pool is super far away. What's really terrible here in Bakersfield is, until just recently, we only had one all-weather track at one of our high schools. We have 16 high schools, and none of our high schools have a swimming pool. And they've closed many of the city pools. I think we have, McMurtry. We have, one or two pools. Finally, one school has a swimming pool in town, but it's Garces High, the Catholic school. They have a swimming pool. They have a water polo team. So, if you want to swim and you're a triathlete, so traditionally Bakersfield people were terrible swimmers. Of course, wetsuits came out, helps people swim a lot better because you float and you're buoyant. So a year ago, I went and did this pincushion hill climb. It's a mile straight up above Millerton Lake. It's in Central California, above Fresno. And did that, and it's right by this beautiful lake. So after I did the mile race to the top, in fact, I came in second or third in the Clydesdale division. That was a hard race. I brought my swim gear, and I went and swam in the lake, and then I got kind of motivated to do more swimming, so I signed up for 24-hour fitness again, which is a huge drag. But I also want to do these run, swim, runs that they started over in Sweden, and so that's a goal or a plan. But haven't really been following through with it. Back in March or April, 24-hour closed. But then I got the swim tether and started swimming in the pool, and I'll tell you, it's a lot like open water swimming. But today's article that I was going to go through is on, again, Training Peaks, which I use as a coach. And if you'd like a premium account, you can go to my Patreon page and get a premium account for the same price as you would pay to get the account just through Training Peaks. And they are talking about some safety considerations to remember now that you can't swim in a pool and maybe you're going to jump into a lake, a river, or an ocean. And, it's, that time, it's getting kind of later in the season, but one of the first things you need to do is, get the wetsuit out, make sure it's okay, rips and stuff. You probably don't fit in it as well, so that's always an issue. And, of course, bring the lube so you don't get the, wetsuit neck sore and stuff like that. And then you should always be real familiar with where you're going to swim, check it out, find out about the tides, the currents, what's underneath the water. Here in Bakersfield, we have people drowning in the Kern River all the time because they shouldn't be in it because they don't know how to swim. There's rocks under there. You get close to the shore, you get dragged under by the bushes. Just all kinds of stuff. We have a couple like man-made lakes from the Kern River that fill up with water. And from time to time, I used to swim in those, but even swimming in them, it's kind of sketchy because there's so many people fishing and there's lots of fishing line and fishing lures. So it's definitely, be familiar with where you're swimming and know the area. And then also, this is something I didn't really realize, but the best time for sea swimming is on or before high tide. So check those tide coming in. There's plenty of apps now, so you can know that. Because, if the tide goes out, there's not going to be any water, and the tide's coming in, you could just get dragged out. So be careful with that. And then, of course, you should also never swim alone when you're swimming in open water, and pick a training partner who can stay with you and, keep an eye on you, the buddy system. And, definitely have to have the buddy system for everybody and just figure out and agree on what we're going to do. Okay, we're going to swim to this buoy. We're going to rest for a few minutes, and then we're going to swim back to shore. And, keep it simple, keep it safe, and agree on the safety protocols. If you do get in trouble, come up with some kind of way that everyone else knows you're in trouble. Here they're saying, like, you should roll over to your back and put your hands up in the air and things like that. And then, of course, another one that people do all the time is ignore the weather. Just because you got a swim scheduled, if it doesn't look good, don't swim. One thing advantage of living in Bakersfield, the weather's pretty much good during the summer. It's hot, so you definitely want to get in the pool. Back in my triathlon days, in my late 20s, 30s, I used to go up to Lake Willems outside of Delano and train with the McFarland people. And it was a nice empty lake, and definitely was nice to be out there. And it was definitely nice and cool to be out there. And, of course, again, it says never swim alone. You don't want to be a statistic. And then, of course, too, don't take any risks the first few sessions. Your technique's going to be off. Your fitness is going to be off. And just, don't worry about getting in a great workout. Just get comfortable and get used to the swimming and be safe as always. And, of course, as I always say, too, stay healthy, be boring, not epic.